Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on our YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and this is the show that we talk about and celebrate and enjoy the things that we love. Movies and movie news, TV and streaming, all that good stuff. I'm joined here in studio today by our technical producer, Jonathan Boyko.
Good morning, everybody.
Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer-Burnett.
Well, hello. It's a new year almost.
Almost. And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how our show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a number of topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you're watching the show live, you can send in a theory, topic, question that you'd like us to discuss simply by using the super chat feature in the live chat. And if you send one in that's appropriate to be addressed on the show, then we will address it in the second part of the show. Second last show of 2025 today. Tomorrow will be our last. Tomorrow's when we're going to give our list for our best films of the year. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But we've got a number of really interesting things to talk about here today. So let's not waste any more time and get right to it. And we're going to start with this. AMC theaters, which you always know that's a good start when I start off with that.
If we're talking about A-list, but yeah.
Yeah, listen, I think I'm fair. I give AMC credit where credit is due. You know, when they did that popcorn bucket for a year membership, you know, $29 you pay. And then for the entire year, you get $5 large popcorn.
Good deal.
It's a good deal. And I gave them a lot of props for it and they deserved it. AMC A-List is the single greatest thing the movie gods have ever gifted to film fans. It's an amazing thing. Been around for a long time. Always give them credit for it. So I give credit where credit is due. But they also have the most incompetent leadership out of any movie theater chain. That is my position. That is how I see things. I think they have the absolute worst CEO in Adam Aaron. Side note, I hear he's a really nice guy, but he's terrible at his job, in my opinion. And some staggering numbers came in as I looked on Deadline a little bit earlier, and it said today the AMC stock price had hit $1.63 a share.
Oh,
$1.63 a share. That means you're not doing something right. Something's being done wrong. And as a matter of fact, it's going to be a little bit hard to see, but if we go over and look at, say, the stock coverages. What's going on there?
I'm playing off my phone.
And so we go over here. Now, if we go back a couple of years, you see, of course, there was the big meme stocks spike, right? Hit at $550 at its peak. For a share of it, that had nothing to do with AMC doing that. That was the meme stock thing that happened with GameStop and everything, and whatever. And it has fallen, and it has fallen, and it has fallen. And today, we see it is at $1.63. To illustrate, now, one has to play devil's advocate here and say, well, it has been a tough couple of years for the movie theater industry as a whole. You have to acknowledge that, right?
Sure.
Of course you do. Between pandemics and strikes and, changing audience behaviors, of course it has been tough for the entire movie industry. But there's a particular problem when it comes to AMC's leadership. Because if we go back and look at this chart again, if we go back 5 years ago, one share of AMC stock was $19.06. This is before they had the big meme stock pop, okay? 5 years ago today, about $19.06. Well, let's look at a couple of other movie theater chains that in the top 5, the biggest movie theater chains, shall we? And see what they've been doing.
Let's do that.
Let's go over and look at Cinemark. 5 years ago today, a share of Cinemark was $17.78. Today, $22.86. From 5 years ago to today, AMC's dropped from $18 to about $1.50, $1.60. Whereas Cinemark, their stock value's gone up over the last 5 years. From 17 some odd dollars to 22 some odd dollars. Let's go over and look at Marcus Theaters, one of the other top 5 theater chains. 5 years ago, a share of their stock was $13.64. Today, it is $15.50. Almost level, actually gone up a little.
Gone up a little bit.
So whereas AMC stock has gone from $18 5 years ago to $1.63. These other two major theater chains have been basically level and actually gone up a little bit. That's all leadership. Now, I also want to play devil's advocate here again and say, listen, we're not going to pretend that these numbers are a direct apples to apples comparison. Okay. Each theater chain company has their own little leverage issues, their own debt ratios, their own expansion. And you could also say that AMC Theaters, being the biggest movie theater chain in the world, will be impacted even more, since it's the biggest, by global events and currents, affecting the movie industry. Sure. But again, I find it interesting that under the leadership that they have at Marcus and Cinemark, over the past 5 years, their stock's actually gone up, whereas AMC's has dropped ridiculously, 90-something%. Okay, well, what about just the last couple of years? Let's get past the pandemic. Let's get past the meme stocks. What about just the last couple of years? What has Adam Aaron and his valiant crew of the USS AMC been able to do just in the last couple of years that has affected the overall value of the company? Well, let's take a look at this. In January of 2023, one share of AMC stock was worth $33.97.
It's a hell of an infographic, man.
Thank you. Fast forward just 1 year to January of 2024, that $33.97 per share had dropped to $5.17. Fast forward one more year to January of 2025, that stock price had now dropped to $3.80. And now today, as we fast forward to the end of the year, that $3.86 share has dropped by more than 50% and is now sitting at $1.63. To give you a sense of context in this, if in January of 2023, you decided to invest $10,000 in AMC stock, if you invested $10,000 in AMC stock, today, under the leadership of Adam Aaron, that $10,000 today would be worth $480. $480. Now, for argument's sake, let's go back to this. Let's go back to that meme stock. Say you got suckered into the whole meme stock craze and you bought a share of AMC when it was at $550.
Bought at the top.
Like, it was just going up, right? It was just going to keep going up because clearly it was because of the leadership at AMC.
Oh my God.
If you had invested $10,000 in AMC at that point, today your $10,000 investment would be worth $30.
Well, you never buy at the top of a short squeeze.
Well, absolutely not. In other words, since the 2023, it's dropped 95%. Since its peak, it's dropped 99.7%. Look, it's just, if you go back to this thing and look at, say, the 10-year stretch, let's go over here and take a look at this 10-year stretch. It was 2016. Actually, let's go over to the max. It was 2016 that Adam Aaron took over from a beloved, fantastic CEO that AMC had, Jerry Lopez. And he guided them through a lot. He guided them through the Wanda purchase and the going IPO and all that kind of stuff. Morale was high, was great. I want you to take a look at this. Even before the pandemic, when the pandemic shut down movie theaters in March of 2020, ever since Adam Aaron took over, drop, 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 drop. Then right here, March of 2020 is when the pandemic officially shut down AMC theaters. And it dropped a little bit. You can't blame for that. Then came the meme stock. Whatever. But ever since then, it has been drop, 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 drop.
Below pandemic levels.
Well below pandemic levels. When Adam Aaron took over AMC theaters, we go to the mid of the year, June 6th. It was 2016 that he took over, so we'll just go to the mid of the year. A share of AMC stock was $237. Today it's $1.63.
John, let me ask you. So in this time, since Adam Aaron has taken over, we've seen their partnership with Dolby.
Yep.
And they've created Dolby Cinemas, which are incredible in terms of providing a great movie-going experience. They have, with the Burbank 16 and the AMC that's in Times Square, two of the most busiest theaters in the United States. They've had their A-list. They've had now the popcorn deal. They've done all of these things to enhance the experience. why is their stock so low?
And that's the billion-dollar question. The analogy I have for it is this. It's like taking a car and putting the most incredible world-class engine in it, the most fine Italian leather in the interior, a pristine, the descendant of Leonardo da Vinci himself, hand painting artwork on it, all that kind of stuff. But you put no tires, no steering wheel, and you charge everybody $4 million for the car. AMC Theaters does some things very, very well. We talked about A-List, the popcorn bucket. The AMC Dolby Prime movie theaters are still my choice of movie theaters. That's still my favorite, even over IMAX. And I love IMAX too, but that's my favorite. They do a number of things. But they have also done a number of things that have turned people away, simpler things that have turned people away and worsened the industry. Remember, it was AMC itself that basically opened the door. You know, while as everybody else in the Seven Kingdoms was yelling, hold the door, hold the door, hold door, hold door, hold door. When studios were trying to shorten the theatrical windows and all the movie theater chains stood packed, it was Adam Aaron himself who opened the door when he made that deal with Universal that said, you know what, we're fine if you have like a 17-day window. We're fine. To which all the other movie theaters, I mean, supposedly, then kind of looked at, what the hell did you just do? And they opened the floodgates. On top of that, they are at the forefront of continuously, you know, my biggest pet peeve about AMC theaters and going to the movie theaters today, movie says 7 times showtime. Great, fantastic. I look at my watch, it's 7:35 and the fucking movie still hasn't started.
And you
yet.
would think that the commercials would add to the value that they're making money from, you know, selling that much more commercial time, but apparently not.
No, and that's the thing. AMC doing a bunch of things that says, well, this will help our bottom line, when clearly it's not. It's like somebody dying of, I'm trying to come up with something. Let's say you had like a really bad flu, okay? And you're dehydrating, man, you're dying. And it said, no, I'm absolutely positive that if I put Vicks Vapor Rub on my feet and cover them with socks, that'll fix the problem. Okay, you did that, and 2 weeks later, your health has deteriorated even more. That's not working. And then we can talk about the cost of concessions. Then we can talk about the cost of tickets. We can talk about all these things. Look, the bottom line is that when you look at other major movie theater chains that have had to suffer the same cultural shifts and wins, pandemics and strikes and what have you, that AMC has, their stock hasn't dropped. AMC's has dropped like over 90% from the numbers that I'm looking at any rate. And again, got to reemphasize, not an exact apples to apples comparison. AMC got dealt a raw deal just before the pandemic hit. They took on a lot of debt to do a bunch of things, and that was bad luck. Absolutely. There are things like that with every single one of them. But I just have to wonder, at what point, and not to mention, you know, Adam Aaron is the same guy who laid off tens of thousands of AMC employees while giving himself a $9 million bonus.
Right.
For laying off tens of thousands of people who worked at AMC. I've never gotten over that. And then he stood on stage at CinemaCon, which I almost caused a scene, and talked as if when the meme stock happened, as if his bold leadership had navigated AMC through the perilous seas of the pandemic. Anyway, so my personal feelings aside, it's just amazing how you can look at a company that in 3 years has dropped 90% of its value, and yet the shareholders and the board have not ousted the person sitting in the seat. It's inconceivable. Anyway, Rob, inconceivable. You look at these numbers. What's actually jumping out to you the most as being the most shocking thing?
Well, how low can you go? I mean, that is a shockingly low stock price. I don't know if it's ever been that low, but I think that the fact that, you know, this turned out to be a pretty good year for Hollywood ultimately. it was a little
An
thin.
improvement at least.
Certainly an
Yes.
improvement, and people are excited. You got two movies now burning up the box office, making money. Next year is a stacked year, as we've been talking about. It is really exciting next year. I can't wait. There's so many movies, and it's only going to be a fever pitch running to that December 18th day, because I'm telling you, Doomsday, there hasn't been a day for me that I've been as interested to see two movies in a long time. Barbenheimer was cool, but I wanted to see one way more than I wanted to see the other. Whereas Doomsday, my level of excitement has gone to 11 on each one of those movies.
Yeah.
So we have an entire year that's leading up to Fangasm Day, which is December 12th or 18th. But all year there's great stuff. Project Hail Mary, not March, not very far away. If AMC cannot turn stuff around in 2026, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's just, I don't know how, like you said, I keep thinking about, I'll tell you something that just jumped in my mind. I've had an experience. I never went to the Irvine Spectrum Theater a lot. I think I'd been there once or twice.
It's a great theater.
It is one of my favorite theaters I've ever been to. You walk into that theater and it's like you're going into a nightclub.
It's an experience.
It's an experience.
They lean into making the experience of going to the movies.
And everybody who's worked there, like, they have multiple bars. Their IMAX screen is perfect. It's 1570. It's incredible. When they showed Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D on Halloween, they put it in Cinema 13. Somebody was thinking. Somebody was always thinking, like, I walk into that place and it just screams fun. And I walk into the Harkins, my local Harkins, the Mountain Grove 16. Fun. People there are fun. The girls behind the bar know horror movies. I can sit there and talk. I'll go to the Harkins 16 and sit at the bar, and when I don't even go see a movie, just to chit-chat and find out what's going on, what movies are good. Somebody will come over, Rob, we're making another CineX theater. I'm like, really? I mean, it's great. AMC's got to bring back the fun, man. They got to bring back the fun, because that stock price, they're doing everything right presentation-wise. Why do you think that it's...
Again, it comes down to their base. They never take into consideration just the actual process of somebody choosing to go to the movies, right? And of course, we can talk a lot about concession stands and movie ticket prices. That's an industry-wide problem, but it's something they as the leader have to address.
Yeah.
But again, like I have talked to a number of people. They're part of the reason I complain so much about the pre-show time. It's because I specifically know people who no longer go to the movies because they got sick of it.
Well, it diminishes the experience.
Oh, and 100% diminishes the experience. How many times have you sat in a movie theater? And I've never asked you this question. How many times have you sat in a movie theater and literally, like, the last little theater tag comes up. They play all the trailers and the theater tag comes up where you actually have to take a quick second and go, what movie am I here to see again? I can't even begin to tell you how many times it's happened to me.
It's happened, and I'll tell you something. The late lamented ArcLight. I love the ArcLight because you knew no commercials, and you knew you were going to get 3, maybe a 4th trailer. And the trailers that you got were somehow, most of the time, related to the film you came to see. It was all programmed and structured. And when you watch, it's exhausting to watch 30 minutes of pre-show because you're in the mindset of, I can't wait to see whatever movie I'm going to see. And all of those trailers and all those commercials become, it's weird to say, but it's disruptive in terms of the process. Like you're just pointing out, what movie am I here to see? It diminishes what you're watching because your brain has literally been scrambled. Whereas going to the ArcLight, you knew that the 3 trailers.
Yeah, they had a rule. 3 trailers, then the movie.
And that was part of the experience. And those 3 trailers would be somehow tangentially related to whatever it is you're going to see.
Yeah, that was one thing. Yeah, the theme, you're right.
They were themed. So if you were going to go
Mhm.
see a horror film, they were going to give you horror trailers. If you're going to go see a comedy, they would give you comedy trailers. And that added to the experience. And I feel like if you're going to give somebody a pre-show, that pre-show's got to be curated. It's got to be curated.
Here's the other thing. AMC has done a number of other things. I'm just going to give you one example. AMC kind of led the charge. Not that they created it, but they led the charge. Remember when they did dynamic pricing on their seating?
Yeah.
They experimented, yeah.
Here's the problem. So basically, for those of you who don't remember this, AMC decided, well, when you go to a concert, if you sit in one of the better seats, you spend more money than you do if you sit in one of the worst seats. And they sold it as... Because, then let's say the baseline ticket price was $10. Okay. Just for argument. Okay. Follow me here. $10. Let's say a movie was going to cost $10 to go see it. You pay $10 and you just get a seat in the theater. AMC's proposition at this time, and this is just a couple of years ago, was, well, if you're dead center in the middle, now you're going to pay $12.50. But AMC said, oh, we're doing that so the less desirable seats will be less expensive. And I said when they announced it, I said on my show, that's a pretense. You watch, no seats in those theaters are going to go down in price. You're only going to see seats in those theaters go up in price. And sure enough, a few months later, fast forward, we opened up the AMC seat list and it's like, oh, look, nothing went down. So if you had a $10 ticket price for a 100-seat theater, we averaged out, that's going to be $1,000 of revenue. That just to buy all the tickets for that theater is going to be $1,000. When we took in their dynamic pricing, it was like, oh, look now, if you bought all the tickets in this theater, instead of them getting $1,000, they're getting like $1,300. If they had done it the way they said they were going to do it, oh, the better seats plus $2, the worse seats minus $2, then it still would have come out zero sum. It would have come out to $1,000, but they didn't. But here's the point of all that, is that AMC doesn't seem to have an awareness that what takes 2 ounces of effort to turn people off will take 20 ounces of effort to try to win them back. When you turn off a customer, you're going to have a really hard time getting them back. I'll give you an example. I'm never going to use FedEx again. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. So it's separate thing. So anyway, guys.
I was going to say that's what she said.
A lot of stuff here to glean from the AMC, which at one point today, I don't know what it is currently at this second.
Holding 163.
Is at $1.63 a share.
162.
When just a couple of years ago, it was $33 a share. And years before that, even higher. Anyway, at what point does the leadership and the shareholders at AMC get Adam Aron out, who in my opinion only, is the problem? Anyway, guys, whatever you think about all this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right. With that down, guys, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, Black Panther was not just the first comic book movie to be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, or at least Marvel's first comic book movie to be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards and all that kind of stuff. It was also a cultural touchstone. It was an important film, and it was a fantastic film. Then the unthinkable happened. We, of course, lost Chadwick Boseman. They were already well into planning Black Panther 2. And so they had to completely change directions. And they made Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which I don't hate, but I'm going to be honest, I didn't like it very much. I love the original Black Panther. I did not like Black Panther 2 that much. Well, recently now, Ryan Coogler, who I believe on the Happy Sad Confused podcast, actually is now officially revealed what the plot was going to be for Black Panther 2 prior to us losing the great Chadwick Boseman. Comicbook.com has this headline: Ryan Coogler reveals original Black Panther Wakanda Forever plans before Chadwick Boseman's death. And it writes the following. This is Coogler. The big thing about the script was it was a thing called the Ritual of 8. Coogler revealed about the 180-page draft he originally wrote, where when a prince is 8 years old, he has to go spend 8 days in the bush with his father, and they have to go out into the bush without any tools, and the prince has to do everything that is asked of him by his father. But the rule is for those 8 days, the prince can ask the father any question, and the father has to answer. And during the course of those 8 days, Namor launches an attack. So that was the movie. Was he had to deal with someone, and it was a different version of Namor in that script, but someone who's insanely dangerous. But because of this ritual, his son had to be joined at his hip the whole time. Classic
Daddy
conundrum
daycare.
plot. Classic conundrum plot. You have this and you got to do this, but you have to deal with this.
Right.
Classic conundrum plot. Love the sound of it, getting more into the whole mythology of it. Apparently it was going to focus a lot on T'Challa's father with a relationship with his own father, T'Chaka, where he has, which was a theme in a lot of the other Black Panther stuff as well. So he's going to have to unpack all that kind of stuff as well. We were going to have an 8-year-old T'Challa, son of T'Challa, and all that kind of stuff. I got to say, it's not jumping off the page at me, but it sounds a lot better than what we got with Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I think it probably would have worked out better. But again, I don't fault Ryan Coogler, Marvel, anybody for how Black Panther Wakanda Forever turned out, because they were faced with an impossible situation. And I don't know that anybody in the world could have done a better job trying to, pivot and still put out a new Black Panther movie. It was a near impossible thing. And to be fair, there's a lot of people who like Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Well, because I didn't like it. Other people liked it too, and that's fine, but it didn't really work for me. Anyway, Rob, you saw this description. What do you think about the description of it? How do you think that would have played out?
Well, it seems to me like it's more of an episode of a TV show. I don't know how you stretch that into making it a feature film. Like if Black Panther is saddled with an 8-year-old kid and he has to go take on Namor. But I can also see the potential, like T'Challa reflects back on the time when he did the Ritual of 8 with his own father. Godfather to that. We'll go back and forth.
Yeah.
Go back and forth through time, and the idea that, the idea of fathers and sons is something that we don't see much in movies anymore. And
Which is one of the reasons I love the original Thor movie.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
I know.
the main theme.
And
of
I'll
that
tell you,
movie.
now that they've released the Thor, the teaser officially online.
Yeah, with Thor and Love.
And when he's talking to Odin, about, please, Father, give me the power. I mean, that restores. Like I did like Ragnarok a lot. I couldn't stand Love and Thunder. I mean, and I think it's what they've done. I love the fact that they take this plot element from Love and Thunder and turn it into something mythic and epic. And you go back and you listen to Thor. Same with Steve Rogers. Again, it's a tonal issue. But the thing about Black Panther Wakanda Forever is, while I think it's obviously deeply compromised because it had to be, I love the fact that Ryan Coogler had a tone that he was going for. A serious, thoughtful tone that touched on many different issues. And I thought the film actually did honor the memory of Chadwick Boseman and Chad Boseman's fight with cancer that he did privately, but very publicly, even though people didn't know it. And I thought that the film was it was a respectable effort. And I liked it. I mean, it's by definition imperfect because it had an insurmountable goal to have to surmount. Yeah. But so I think Ryan Coogler is really thoughtful. Whatever he would have done, I haven't seen a Ryan Coogler movie that I haven't liked. And Sinners is, what is Sinners about? But brothers, family. And I love that too. And so I think it sounds like it could have been a great movie. And I would have trusted him to do it. So, it's a shame that we didn't get it, but
on so many levels.
Yeah, on so many levels. But look, I look so forward to his future career because he's bought himself a lot. The fact that what a baller move saying, I got to own my movie.
Yeah.
It's going to revert back to me. So you go, boy, and you go get that X-Files show and you make it good, because Chris Carter has let me down with the last 2 seasons of that god-awful second film. I think Ryan Coogler's good. If Ryan Coogler, if he creeds it with the X-Files, I'm going to be ecstatic.
I'm going to give a prediction. Not based on anything, just prediction. That Ryan Coogler X-Files thing never happens.
Why do you got to harsh my mouth?
I'm saying, look, I don't know that. I absolutely could be wrong. But that's just my prediction.
I'm tearing up right now.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Ryan Coogler has kind of given out what was going to be the basic plot of Black Panther 2 before the untimely and tragic passing of the great Chadwick Boseman. Do you like the sounds of it? Do you think it still has some problems with it? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, with that down, we are going to jump over now and play the final round of the year of a little game we have called Versus.
Oh.
Very simple game where we ask you guys to give us some head-to-head comparisons and we'll tell you which one comes out the victor. We asked you guys on the YouTube channel a little bit earlier this morning to send in some scenarios. You guys sent in your head-to-heads and we got a few picked out. Jonathan's going to read them off. So Jonathan, what we got up first?
All right. First up, we're going to go with you, Rob, in this Versus. Omar says RDJ and Chaplin versus RDJ and Oppenheimer.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Now, it's funny because in one, he won the Academy Award,
yeah.
and the other, he was nominated for the Academy Award.
It's pretty easy for me. I'm curious.
You know what? I got to go with Chaplin. I got to go with Chaplin because look, he was great in Oppenheimer, obviously.
Won the Academy Award.
But where he was in his career when he made Chaplin, which was long ago, the fact that he took on that role, and a lot of people now today aren't as familiar with Chaplin. Like they haven't seen The Great Dictator and things like that. But I thought it blew me away when I saw that movie. I thought he was absolutely incredible, and recreating that kind of a character for an actor, I think, and especially as young as he was when he took that on, he's learned a lot more since then. So I thought it was more of an achievement.
Yeah, I'm going to 100% go with you. To me, it's not even a hard question. It's Chaplin. He was fabulous in Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Again, won the Academy Award. One was a supporting actor performance. One was a lead. That's not what that ultimately determines it. But a lot of people don't really, for a lot of people, Robert Downey Jr.'s career started when he put on the Iron Man armor. And don't really think a lot about his career before that. Chaplin was a revelation of Robert Downey Jr. and showed just how good he could be. And again, he's fabulous in Oppenheimer, won the Oscar, and I supported him winning the Oscar for that. But for me, it's Chaplin. Jonathan, you said for you it was an obvious one. Which one is it for you?
It's Chaplin 100%. Don't even have to really think about it that much. It wasn't just that his portrayal was spot on. It's the level of detail to his pratfalls, to the fact that Chaplin could actually dance, and the fact that then RDJ learned almost pitch perfect ballet.
Yeah.
Like the level of detail and precision and commitment to that role that he did to play Chaplin was beyond.
People forget, like you go back and you look at 1987's Less Than Zero, where he played a drug-addicted, rich Beverly Hills kid who ends up, spoiler alert, ODing. He was incredible when he was in the throes of drug addiction in that movie. Incredible. And let's go back to the first teaming up of Ultron and Tony Stark.
Oh,
1985 Tough Turf. Yes.
All right. Let's get on to the next one here. What's next?
Okay, where's my button? Here we are. All right, John. Next up, we're going to hear from Justin. So, Finding Nemo versus Up.
I mean, these are two of the films going back to that peak Pixar era where everything they did was absolute gold. But to me, this isn't a hard one.
Oh.
It's Up. It's Up. Finding Nemo is wonderful. I am not casting any shade whatsoever on Finding Nemo at all. It's incredible. But Up was just the next level.
Because it's more human.
It's so much more human. First, it's
human.
The humor was, I think, Finding Nemo's hilarious, but the humor was better. The emotional levels of it were right there. I still contend that the opening 5 minutes of Up is one of the greatest opening 5 minutes of any movie ever.
Yeah.
Setting up the entire movie without dialogue and just this whole thing. And audiences are left emotionally crushed 5 minutes in, and it never lets up after that. Finding Nemo is wonderful. It's fantastic. But Up, which I believe Up is one of the only, was that not the other film that got nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards?
I think so.
I believe it was
That,
Up,
Beauty.
Toy Story 3, and Beauty and the Beast. Those are the only three. So yeah, for me, it's Up. Rob, what about you?
Oh, I got to say Up too. Look, I love Finding Nemo, but Finding Nemo is, a fun fantasy film.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, brilliant. It's what Pixar did best. I mean, it's great. And but same thing with Up. Again, only because it's more of that human experience, and not that. I mean, you judge something on entertainment. Those movies are doing two different things. But in terms of something that's more resonant, and probably will continue to be more resonant as I get closer to death, I'm going to go with Up.
All right. What's next?
All right, our next one, Rob, you must choose one when we hear from Elliot Knight. Timothy in Marty Supreme versus Leo in One Battle After Another. Some T-Shammy versus...
I think this is the biggest race at the Oscars this year.
Okay, I do too,
Versus
but
El
I have
Capi.
to say, I'm going to see Marty Supreme today.
Okay.
Oh, so you haven't
I
seen
have
it yet.
not seen it yet. And but Leo in One Battle, as a matter of fact, I was watching One Battle After Another just last night because I watched a video about, the car chase over the
Yeah.
hills. They shot that with telephoto lenses.
Yeah, I saw that video came out. The guy describing how they shot
Yeah,
that
and I had to go
scene.
back and watch. I was watching the. See, some people do these YouTube videos that are great like that. I love that. But I went, and then of course you get sucked in, because then I went back and watched one battle after another again, and all of the performances. Paul Thomas Anderson knows what to do with actors. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, Sean Penn's my pick to win Best Supporting Actor.
Oh my God,
Sean Penn in that movie, oh my God. So I watched it again. I was really late to One Battle After Another. I saw it like
me
a
too.
month after it came out. But I sat, Ann hadn't watched it. So we had a free night the other night. We sat down and watched it again. Here's the thing. I hated Marty Supreme.
right?
I wanted to love it, but I think it's totally garbage. But you know what? Almost don't take my word for that. Almost everybody else loves it. So if you've been thinking about seeing it, don't get turned off just because I didn't like it. But I really wanted to like it, and I hated it. One Battle After Another is, just so I don't spoil it, I'll just say it's in my top 5 of the best films of the year.
Well then,
And probably the front runner to win Best Picture. I vastly prefer One Battle After Another over Marty Supreme. But Timothée Chalamet's performance in Marty Supreme is, I think, so far the best expression of his seemingly unlimited talent. Leo is incredible in One Battle After Another. I think Timothy's even better in a movie I don't even like. And I thought Timothée Chalamet was even better in it. So I'm going to say Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme.
I gotta ask you: have you seen any of the videos of Leo DiCaprio talking to Jennifer
Oh yeah,
Lawrence?
yeah.
Like the for the Oscars, like Variety.
It's
on,
the
I have
actors
not
on-
seen those.
actor-
The
actor
actors
on
No, I
actor.
haven't seen that one.
Okay, you've got to watch, because first of all, Jennifer Lawrence is a national treasure, and Leonardo DiCaprio is very kind of aloof a little bit. And she's like, "When was the last time you watched Titanic?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I don't know,
He's
I
never
watched
seen it, I think.
Yeah, he was like, "I don't know. He's so good," you know. And then he's looking at her like she's out of her mind. It's so great. Just watch it. I love Jennifer Lawrence so much. I wish I knew her.
Yeah.
She just seems like someone you want to hang out
You ever
with
seen
forever.
the video where Jack Nicholson came up behind her just to say hi?
It's the greatest.
And she goes, "Oh, hi." And then she turns back to the camera. She like almost dies.
Or the one where she's talking about going up to the Star Wars table. Hey guys, she's the best.
Anyway, let's move on. What's
All right.
next?
Let's see. I think we go to, Rob, John. Okay, John. So who do you got here? When we hear from Lost Anchor Films, John Chu movies, Wicked Part 1 versus Crazy Rich Asians.
Here's why this is pretty tricky.
It is.
Because they are, not only are they two very different movies, they're two movies made with two different sets of philosophies. Listen, I love both of these movies, at least the first Wicked.
Yeah.
I loved that movie. It's such a beautiful work of art and all that kind of stuff. But to me, movies are experiential events. And I really think Crazy Rich Asians is a massively underappreciated film. I'm going to say Crazy Rich Asians. Again, it's a very different kind of movie. It's an apples to spaceships comparison. But if I had to just say my overall experience level coming out of both of them, and I loved the first Wicked, I did. But again, Crazy Rich Asians is just massively underrated. I'm going to say Crazy Rich Asians on this one. What about you, Rob?
I'm gonna go with you.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
you know,
Surprised
I'm
by
gonna
that.
go. Look, Wicked is it's great and everything. It's fine. But I find I've always preferred movies about quote unquote real people, and I love
Alphabet is real.
I love Crazy Rich Asians. I love the whole storyline of Crazy Rich Asians. Those are the kind of films, family-oriented films, fish out of water stories, and Henry Golding and Gemma Chan.
Yeah.
Which I love Crazy Rich Asians because I love Asian culture and I loved seeing that, that whole world and how I wished I lived in that world. I want to be a Crazy Rich Asian, let me tell you.
All right. What's next?
Okay, Rob, up to you now. I think this is our final one.
Nope. There's one more after that.
Yeah, you're right. Chad Sam says Stranger Things versus It Welcome to Derry. Come on now.
For me, Welcome to Derry, hands down.
Yeah.
100%.
Listen, I am firmly on the right side of history that I think Stranger Things season 5 has been really good. And I am firmly on the right side of history. But we haven't seen the finale yet. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. It's been really good. It's been good. It's solid. It's heading us towards a finale. I think it's been exciting. The pacing has been really good. I love the way they use the characters. I love they're slowly peppering in more new characters. I really like it. But it's Welcome to Derry. Welcome to Derry just, again, I'm one of the guys who said, why are they doing this? Who asked for a prequel to Pennywise? And then I sat down and watched it, and I was absolutely floored. And I shouldn't have been, because it was HBO.
Yeah.
Right.
So I should have known better.
Yeah.
It was so incredible. It made my list of top 5 shows of the year. And I cannot wait to watch I cannot wait to see where they go with it, because they're saying they're going to go even further back in time now.
Yeah.
Which I would rather see them go forward a little bit, but whatever. I just cannot wait to see what they're going to do next with it, because this season was just so good. So I will agree with you on this one, Rob. It's Welcome to Derry.
Yeah, and look, Welcome to Derry. I loved it from the first episode. You knew this show was mean.
It was a
and
different
surly.
it was a different level.
It was, and to see an HBO Stephen King horror series once again brought to us by Roy Lee.
Now, just real quick. Now, I kind of wish that HBO could get the rights to do a series of The Shining and do it more like book.
Yeah,
you know?
because that many.
No, I love The Shining, but it would be interesting to see it really as a fair adaptation.
Whenever The Shining comes up, I have to re-mention again, one of the most tragically underattended movies ever was Dr. Sleep. That movie deserved so much more success, and nobody went to go see it, which is really too bad, because it was great.
I wonder if they should have called it The Shining 2 Dr. Sleep or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, what's next?
All right, John, we're final. When we hear from Josh Miller, who's the better Magneto, Ian McKellen or Michael Fassbender?
You know, I want to say that's tough, because they're both really good, but it's not tough. It's Ian McKellen. Look, Michael Fassbender, or Fassbender, he had the unenviable task of trying to step into Ian McKellen's shoes, who made that role iconic.
Yeah.
And he did an amazing job, dude. Forget even that whole scene in the first one. Perfection. Like, even forget that. Go into, I think it was the terrible Phoenix movie that they did later on. Dark Phoenix. That scene where his wife and child get killed, and he goes and tracks them down in the woods. That performance is so good. I mean, he did a remarkable job doing nearly the impossible, again, stepping into already iconic character shoes because of Ian McKellen. That said, it's Ian McKellen. Man, seriously, one of the most powerful scenes, I think, in all the X-Men films. It's very short, 1.5 lines of dialogue. But when, the younger punk mutants go to Magneto, hey, we all got the mark. Where's your mark? Oh, my skin's been marked, young lady. And believe me when I tell you, no one will ever do that to me again. I'm paraphrasing something else.
Yeah.
That gave me chills. He's, we're the future, Charles, not them. Like, even just that first, like, it's just what Ian McKellen brought to that role. You can't even really define it. So I love Michael Fassbender as the guy. He did such a great job with it, but it's Ian McKellen. Rob, what about you?
Again, I must agree with my esteemed colleague. People forget that X-Men 1 came out a year before Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
So, and like, if you want to, Ian McKellen has always been one of my favorite actors. You got to watch his Richard III, his Shakespeare film, Richard III. Now is the winner of our discontent. He is unbelievable in that movie. It is so good. But him as Magneto, and I still haven't wrapped my head around what we're gonna get
in Avengers Doomsday.
What we're gonna get from Ian McKellen. I'm just like, oh, I can't wait, because he's just incredible.
Look, I will tell people this. I shouldn't say this, but I think this is fairly harmless. If you're like us and you like you some Ian McKellen, what you're going to see Ian McKellen do
You know, I used to say there's nothing that cannot be made better without the proper application of ninjas.
Yes.
There's no Avengers movie that cannot be made better without the proper application of Ian McKellen. And you will all learn that soon.
Anyway, yeah, so there you go, guys. That was the final installment of Versus for 2025. Thank you to everybody who sent in those questions. And keep your eyes open in 2026 when we do our next round of Versus.
Next year.
All right. With that down, guys, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, as we've been talking about Stranger Things season 5, which I think has been a pretty damn solid season. I'm not going to say it's been the best season, but I think it's been really enjoyable, and I'm not the biggest Stranger Things fan, but I think it's been great so far. And now we're heading into the finale, the last episode of this series that's been a pop culture phenomenon for 10 years. I'll be honest with you. Look, I like the show. I like Stranger Things. I don't know quite understand why it's as popular as it is, but whatever. I like it. It's a thumbs up for me. I've always enjoyed it, and I'm enjoying this season. But we're heading into the final episode that comes out tomorrow night. I believe at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. I believe that's when it's dropping. And this will wrap up the show. Now, we've heard that the final episode is going to practically be movie length. Well, according to Men's Journal, who found out via Fandango, it's not just movie length, it's long movie length. Men's Journal wrote this. According to Fandango, The Right Side Up has a runtime of 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yowza.
So this isn't really just a Stranger Things episode, but rather a full-blown movie-length story that will wrap up the entire saga. Speaking to Men's Journal earlier this year, actor Finn Wolfhard called the ending of the series bittersweet, while his co-star Gaten Matarazzo
Nailed it.
got it, commented that he was honored to have played Dustin for a decade and was ready to embrace whatever post-Stranger Things. By the way, I got to show you this one picture in this article. I think it was oh yeah, look. Remember this kid when the show started? There's your Dustin, and now look at him. And now it should be pointed out. Now, when I then went over to Fandango, actually, let me go back down here and I'll click on the Fandango link so we can see what we're dealing with. It says, it's very small print here, but it says 2 hours and 30 minutes, Stranger Things on the Fandango ticket page. Now, it should be pointed out that earlier, and Jonathan, you had mentioned this to me.
Right.
AMC's website had it listed at 2 hours and 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. That's a 25-minute difference. But Fandango, which of course is the nationwide seller for a lot of different theaters, including, as you can see right here, AMC, they're listing it at 2 hours and 30 minutes. So
AMC must be charging extra for the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, they are going hard. This is like 3 episodes of a regular TV series, but more than 2 of this. So we're going to the finale. Rob, what do you think about the runtime? And, let's do some fun final predictions about what's going to happen in our finale. What do you think?
Well, I think the runtime is cool. I mean, in terms of this season, the thing that I've been perplexed by, I understood why they have introduced other new characters, because they needed other new characters to take them to different places, like the whole exploration of Vecna's realm, the human version of all of that. Which is fine, but it seems to me that the main core characters are not being funneled. By having more characters, you sort of broadened the people you have to deal with, whereas I would have liked to have seen, my criticism is more all of these characters and been more focused on our principal characters rather than adding new characters.
To me, that's made it better.
Well, but it's not their show.
But it is. It just hadn't been their show up until that point.
Yeah, I know. But but that's my criticism, I just feel. But in terms of what I think is going to happen, all bets are off. I mean, I hope they make it as apocalyptic and as satisfying as I want it to be. Because one of the things I feel that I've wanted from the show that they've never really given me, that they're giving me a little bit more of, is an exploration of what is the Upside Down. And now we see that there's more realms than we thought. It's a much bigger tapestry. And I'm like, that's really interesting. And I'm really enjoying that aspect of the show. And frankly, I want Vecna and I want the Mind Flayer and I want all these people to win. because literally, you know, it's so Lovecraftian and you're dealing with Cthulhu and the old ones and all this stuff that they've worked so hard over there.
They put in the effort, Rob.
At Hawkins, man.
They
I
put
mean,
in the
they
effort.
deserve to win. Our characters, you haven't been able to defeat them in 5 seasons. Maybe that's because they deserve their win. No, but I think that, look, I don't know who's going to die. I think people are going to die. I think it's going to be very sad. And some people are going to live. I don't know.
You know, I predicted a week ago that Steve dies.
You can't kill Steve.
I think, and
How dare you?
and I've evolved that. I think Steve and Dustin die.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Yep, I think Steve and Dustin die. Heroically, you die, I die, and I think it happens. I think that was foreshadowing. I think both of them die. It's going to be this epic, tragic,
You're a mean,
but
terrible
heroic
person.
ending.
Steve and Dustin?
Steve and Dustin.
Dustin deserves a happy ending.
He does.
Stuffed and
So
died?
does Steve.
But so did
Stuffed
Eddie. Eddie deserved a happy
I
ending.
shipped them.
But Eddie went out like a boss.
And I think Steve and Dustin will too. I don't think they're going to fall over and land their face on a rake like a bad Final Destination chapter. I think they're going to go out like bosses. I think they're going to be
okay,
big
if they're
and
going to go
heroic.
out like Butch and Sundance, you know, and they run out, you don't
Yeah,
have to see
okay,
what
that'd be
happens.
kind of dope.
Yeah.
That would be dope. If they have a Butch and Sundance ending, except you're going to see exactly what happens. And maybe, okay, if that happens, do you think you're going to see an Eddie, like a Jedi Knight, the 3 of them somehow are reunited in the after upside
I
down?
hope
No,
so.
I don't think we will. I don't think that's
That'd
going
be
to
dope
happen.
too. At this point, just throw in everything but the kitchen sink. You know, and if Steve and Dustin have to go out, it better be epic. It better be epic.
Here's what I'm looking forward to. I hope this is in there. I'm fine if this isn't in there and they come up with something better. I really want to see Elle and Will and whatever Elle's sister's name is. I want to see them in like one final big apocalyptic drag out fight with Vecna.
Do they go out?
That just goes. I don't think so. I think Elle wins. A lot of people think Hopper dies.
Oh, I think for
Well,
sure.
he has a death
Hopper's
wish,
gonna
that's for
die.
But
sure.
I think he's going to get. They're going to give him, because something that he never had with his daughter. He was never able to go through the whole process of parenting and watching his daughter grow up because she died. We know that from previous to season 1. I think he's going to get that. I think he's going to, him and Elle, and he's going to be able to have a life with 11, and he's going to.
Or
be
he's
able
going to
raise
save her life.
Yeah, that too. But I think that's going to happen. I don't think any of Wolfhard's family dies.
No.
I think the mom lives. I think the 2 sisters live. I think, by the way, I got to say, what's the youngest sister? Holly? I think she's been an incredible addition to the cast.
She has been. I mean,
really do.
no doubt. But
She reminds me so much of my cousin. It's crazy. She looks just like her. It's
And you know
crazy.
what? Holy crap, that little girl can act.
yeah, she can.
She's really good. So anyway, there's some of our predictions. Guys, question is for you. What do you think? What are you expecting? The AMC listing of 2 hours and 5 minutes, or the nationwide ticket seller Fandango saying 2 hours and 30 minutes? Either way, it's going to be a long episode. Do you have any final predictions for Stranger Things?
I have another question.
Oh, what's that?
Are they going to have a post-credit scene or an ending that tells you that it's not over?
No. Especially with the Duffer Brothers leaving. I don't think they will. As a matter of fact, side note, did you see, it came out in the news in the last 24 hours that they had been working on this project, the Stephen King project. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Do you remember that?
No.
It's a one word, the something, and I can't remember what it was, but they've been working on it for years.
Vecna, welcome to Hawkins.
Yeah. They'd been working on it. The Talisman.
Oh, of course.
That's what it was. They've been working on that for years, and just got announced today. The Duffer Brothers announced that it's done. It's been shelved. So that's not happening.
They've been trying to make that. That's the collaboration you do with Peter Straub.
Yeah. Now again, I don't know that there's not going to be a post-credit scene suggesting something else comes later. I'm just saying my guess is I don't think they will.
Okay.
All right, guys. Whatever you think about this whole thing, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's go on to this. You know, Jordan Peele burst onto the scene with with a force, especially coming out of the world of comedy with Key and Peele. Still one of the greatest things ever.
Ever.
Key and Peele is just simply one of the greatest things ever.
Neeson's.
And there is a high price I would pay for the two of them just to get back together for one 90-minute television special.
Oh, man.
I would give anything to see that happen, right? Then he burst on the scene suddenly as a horror director with Get Out. And it was remarkable. And he's been one of the most predominant names in the business since. Well, somebody asked him a few years ago, hey, would you ever do a Marvel movie, a comic book movie? And he basically kind of poo-pooed the idea. He says, oh, listen, I really appreciate that stuff, but I'm not a comic book geek, and I think I just want to do original things, and kind of downplayed it. Well, there have been whispers and rumors that maybe we could see a Jordan Peele maybe do like a Marvel film at some point. Haven't heard much. Now, recently, Daniel RPK, right many times, wrong sometimes on his stuff, but Daniel RPK reported that, let's take a look at this. From Daniel RPK, he wrote, Marvel Studios reportedly wants Jordan Peele to direct an MCU film. Okay. File that one under rumor mill. And again, we hear 20 of these, and usually 1 out of 20 turns out to be true and real, all that kind of stuff. But as we look at this social media post, this isn't the original post. This is a retweet. And as we scroll up, the people that retweeted it was Jordan Peele's company, Monkey Paw Productions. Now, does this mean officially confirmed that Jordan Peele is going to be directing a Marvel film? No. As Jonathan and I were talking, before the show starts today about it, even Jonathan mentioned, I mean, it could just be them trolling the whole thing. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it may not mean anything at all. I mean, Monkey Paw doesn't, include the words, we can officially confirm this.
Right.
But it's enough that I would say you're not crazy if you think, oh yeah, Jordan Peele is now directing a Marvel film. We can't say it's official. We can't say it's confirmed. We can't say this with certainty, but you're not crazy if you look at it and think, oh yeah, Jordan Peele is going to be directing a Marvel film. That brings up a couple of questions. One, is Jordan Peele a good fit for the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
And when is Blade scheduled to release?
And when is his Blade movie coming out? No, well, or really more thing, what movie would it be?
Yeah.
Right? What movie would it be? All right. I'm going to say the unpopular thing first. With me, I'm as Kevin Feige once told me, a good storyteller is a good storyteller. You don't need to go and just get people who already have action adventure backgrounds. You don't need to have that. A good storyteller will be able to step in and tell any story well. But I must confess, my insane adoration of Jordan Peele, the director, has waned in the last few years. It has. Because as great as Get Out was, I was not a fan of Us. I straight up, when I first watched it and reviewed it, I'm like, it's a step down from Get Out, but it's still okay. You know what? No, it's not okay. It's not a good movie.
The first half is.
First half is pretty good, but then you realize this is what this all was.
Yeah,
and the way they executed it, I'm like, what? And then they did Nope, and I was so excited for Nope. Sort of the Keke Palmer in it, and listen, I went into that with a lot of hope, and I came out going, really? I didn't think it was god awful or anything like that, but I wasn't a big fan of it.
It didn't amount to much.
No, didn't amount to much. Now, I'm not going to hold him responsible for him because he didn't write or direct the film. He was a producer on it and stuff like that. But I do have to say I've become less enamored with Jordan Peele, but still interested because he's Jordan Peele, right? Still interested. That being said, what could I see somebody with his style, his genre preferences, what could I see him do? Listen, I know the stereotypical thing for everybody is going to be to jump up and say Blade, but you're not wrong.
Right.
Stylistically, genre preference, everything that if Jordan Peele is indeed directing a Marvel movie, and we know they've been trying for years to get a Blade film together, and we know that what he really loves, despite the fact that he's freaking hilarious, that he really loves directing horror. Blade. I mean, now maybe you could make an argument that, oh, no, they're finally going to get around to doing a Ghost Rider. That wouldn't be a crazy theory either. Doing something like a Ghost Rider, doing something. Hell, we already know who's doing it now, but if you had asked me a few months ago, he wouldn't have been a bad name to do a body horror Clayface movie.
Yeah.
But that one's already being done. So, I mean, as much as I don't like to go with what the stereotypical and general idea, populist idea would be, Blake, it actually does line up. So if this is true, and again, his own production company is retweeting it out, could be a troll, but for the sake of the discussion, if this is true, I would put my $5 on it being Blade. I don't know, Rob, you hear about this. What would you think about Jordan Peele directing a Marvel film? What do you think of the chances of this being legitimate? And which film do you think it could end up being?
Like you, I was a huge fan of Get Out. I mean, I thought it was terrific. And one of the interesting things about what I loved about Key and Peele was how smart their sketches were. Like how they got into their sensibilities were really, I thought, incredible and really inventive and really funny. And their performances of those sketches were great. That's why I was so disappointed by Us and Nope. I saw something, he was doing something really interesting with Get Out, and I expected his films to get more and more sophisticated. And I thought Us was a huge misfire to me. I'm like, wow. And I was really disappointed. And Nope, like you said, it's fine, but really, it didn't really have much to say. I mean, at the end of the day, there was, which I thought was odd. Now, that doesn't mean that he can't bring the noise again. And I think Blade would be the
100%.
obvious
I mean, listen,
choice.
Get Out was not a fluke. I mean, that was you could see his hand in it. Absolutely.
I'm a fan. I want to see the man succeed. Now, Blade would be the obvious choice. He probably could come up. They needed a new take on it anyway, and they need an auteur. Part of the reason I think that phases 4, 5, and 6 were a little lackluster was the direction. Not all the directors, but unlike the first 3 phases, they had a lot of really interesting directors that they came in who were allowed to make films in their own kind of style. I have something else. This is sort of out of left field. We know that post Secret Wars, they want to get into the X-Men. We know they're making an X-Men movie. One of the things that X-Men gives us are very strong female characters, and specifically one female character who's also black, which is Storm. And I could see he might have had, because growing up, probably he was a huge X-Men fan. And I'll bet I could see him.
That's a great pick.
Having a great, yeah. I mean, because the great thing about the MCU is Storm is from Africa. You've already got Wakanda set up there.
And in the comics now, she's basically God level now.
Yeah.
And
it would be, to do a story of Storm's backstory, I think that from the time she's a little girl and watching her grow older and become the Storm we have to see, and then see her join the X-Men, because she wasn't an initial, she was Chris Claremont era, and I could see him doing that. I would love to see Jordan Peele make a Storm movie. Now I have no knowledge of this at all. I have no clue what they're going to do with the X-Men, except Magneto.
Well, we don't even know what they're doing with the X-Men after Secret Wars.
Right. I have no idea what they're doing with the X-Men after Secret Wars.
Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? A report, unconfirmed report going around that, hey, maybe Marvel's looking at Jordan Peele, but then Jordan Peele's own production company retweets it. What would you think about Jordan Peele taking over a Marvel property? And if it's true, and if he does, which do you think would be a nice match for him to do? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to go on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take a second and bid good afternoon to writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett. Great job as always, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
See you tomorrow for the last show of the year.
I can't believe it's the end of 2025.
It's our last
Fastest
show of the year
of my
tomorrow.
life.
And of course, guys, now let's do the important thing here and get over to your live comments. I will let you know, I have now turned off the super chats. We got plenty of questions sent in, so we've turned them off. If you weren't able to get one in tomorrow, try again tomorrow. All right, let's get into it here. Jonathan, what we got up first?
Yeah, first up, we got Nerdy Beard Man. How would you sum up Marvel's year, movies, and TV?
How do we sum? Well, I will say it has been a year of recovery. I'll use the word recovery. It didn't start off great with Captain America: Brave New World. That film was a loss for me. But then they recovered. Thunderbolts, I think, was the best comic book movie of the year, even over Superman. And Fantastic Four, I don't think it was as good as Thunderbolts, but I thought it was another really good outing. And it had been a while since I had seen like 2 Marvel movies back to back that I thought were both really quite good. And of course, we saw the box office go up from Thunderbolts to Fantastic Four. So again, are we recovered? No, but I will say it was a year of recovery, hopefully setting them up for success in 2026, but we'll see. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Taki who says, I disagree with you that any talented actor can play any role. The word miscast exists for a reason.
You're being very selective. That is never the only thing that I say. Always attached to that statement I give is, since we don't know what the characters are actually meant to be like and how the characters are going to be expressed in a movie other than the director, then in just hearing who gets cast,
right.
I just want to hear that you're getting a talented actor, right? Because again, the great example we always give of this is Joker. We've had radically different Jokers, from Jack's Joker, Heath's Joker, Joaquin's Joker, on and on. Mark Hamill's Joker, they're all really different. And just because Heath did great in one expression of Joker doesn't mean he would have necessarily been a good fit for another one. But when we're coming into a movie, before we see it, we have no idea. We have no idea what that Batman's going to be like. What is that Charles going to be like? What's that Vanessa going to be like? We don't really know. So when it comes to the casting, all we can ask is that the people they're looking at are really good actors. From then on, we just got to trust that the director is putting them well. Now, then we go into a movie like Spider-Man, the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man. I'm forgetting Jesse Plemons' wife.
Oh, gosh.
Who was the first
Yes.
Mary Jane.
Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst, right? Kirsten Dunst is a great actress, but I thought she was miscast in Spider-Man, right? But I didn't know what Sam Raimi was going for in his MJ. So she could have been a great MJ for a different iteration of MJ, but that was a miscast, sure. But the thing is, this is why, like a lot of people, like when Heath Ledger was cast, everybody was saying, Brokeback Mountain boy, he's Joker? What a joke. This movie's stupid already. Turns out, Christopher Nolan just knew he's a great actor. And the vision of Joker I have, he's actually a good match for the vision of Joker I have. And therefore, that's ever since then, I go into movies with, hey, as long as the director's picked out somebody who's a really good actor, I'm good. Because I have no idea what the character's going to actually end up being like. Only the director does. And I trust that. So yes, miscasts can happen, but you don't know if something's a miscast
Till after,
because you haven't read the script.
It's only after the movie.
That's why I as a fan and all of us as fans, all we can do, I think, all we can reasonably do is just go, I just hope they're looking at somebody who's really talented. And after that, we'll just trust that the director knows what they need from the character and go from there. All right, what's next?
Orange Hand says, my dad watches Fallout, new episode tomorrow, and marvels at all the blood. What are the pros and cons of practical blood versus CGI, and which do you prefer?
I don't have a preference for either.
Yeah.
In certain shots, a practical thing of red goo would be more effective. In other shots, you can't possibly execute the effect right unless you're using CGI blood. The reality is there is no one size fits all. People who say practical is always better, you're an idiot. People who say digital is always better, you're also an idiot. Different tools are called for with different situations that filmmakers are trying to do. So it all depends on the situation. And then you choose as a filmmaker, what's the most effective tool to get this done? A practical blood effect, a CGI blood effect. Both can be done wonderfully well, and both can be done very badly. All right, what's next?
Dallas Designer says, do you think Marvel will keep trickling out these character trailers similar to Chair Watch? Basically, the trailer version of Chair Watch. One per week. We have enough characters. I think there's only going to be 4, right?
Well, there's a report going around today that there may be a 5th. Now, I can't attest to the validity of that report, but there is a report going around that there might be a 5th. I mean, you know what the funny thing is? You ain't wrong. There's a lot of characters in Avengers Doomsday, man. There's a lot of characters.
You know,
and so you could do like one maybe every 2 or 3 weeks leading up to the big thing. ultimately, no, I don't think that's what they're going to do. But it's not the craziest theory.
Someone actually on the chat yesterday, I don't remember who it was, and they said it, and I was like, that actually sums these up perfectly. I don't look at these as trailers. They are actually like post-credit scenes that we're just getting without the movie attached to it. They all seem like they're a post-credit scene.
Yeah,
You know?
but I will tell you this, like, for example, I saw the theory going around, like what we saw in the Steve Rogers one and what we saw Thor doing.
Uh-huh.
Those are all made for the trailer. Like those were made.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that those are actually in the movie. I can tell you those things that we saw in that's actually a scene from the movie.
Interesting.
So anyway, all right, what's next?
We got AMC's The Walking Bread says,
I like that.
one of two, rewatched Avatar Fire and Ash, this time in 40X, nearly 3.5 hours of getting hit from the back, tossed around and blasted in the face, which was slightly a problem because it was 4D and 3D.
Oh,
But it was such a fun experience. I loved how they timed the water effects to not just when there was water on screen, but when the splash was coming at you. Highly recommend if you're into 4DX. That seems like that's an exercise.
still to this day, the only movie I've ever seen in 4DX was Twisters.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a ball. That was a great time. But it also emphasized to me that 4DX, you got to be really selective about
Right.
which movies to go and see in 4DX. I'm not one who wants to get splashed with water. And I'm sure they don't splash you with water.
Yeah,
They're quite little
it's
mist,
like
right?
sprays.
But I don't know that I'd want to, but and I certainly wouldn't want to watch it in 4DX in 3D. First of all, I never want to watch a movie in 3D. It's so useless. But if I had to watch it in 3D, I definitely wouldn't want to try to watch it in 3D while being in 4DX. So I'll probably pass on that one. But if they ever do just a regular 2D screening in 4DX of Fire and Ash, I might check that out. All right, what's next?
Yatu says, greetings from Antwerp. Do you think the teasers we're getting for Doomsday is an indication of who's getting the biggest roles to play in the movie?
Well, I don't think it's a surprise to anybody that if Steve Rogers is going to be there, he is going to be a major character in the film.
Or Thor. Yeah,
I don't think it's a surprise to anybody that Thor is going to be a major character in the film. I don't think we're going to get one of these little character things for somebody who's going to have 2 minutes of screen time. So sure, I'll go with sure.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Murray Reich says, movies I watched that was a great experience in 40. Oh, nice follow-up. In 40X, F1.
That's one I
That
should have
was
gone
one-
to see in 4DX.
That was one when we were talking about it. I'm like, I missed Twisters. I'm going to see F1. And of course I didn't. Back to the Future, Jaws 50th anniversary and Avatar 3, which for its runtime experience helped it. Personal best films of 25 in no order were Companion, Sinners, Thunderbolts, Final Destination. I forgot that came out this year. Ballerina, F1, Caught Stealing, and The Long Walk. Oh, Christie and Housemaid. Did you see Housemaid?
I did.
Oh,
It was all right.
yeah.
It was all right. You know what? You're right. I forgot about Final Destination 6. That was such a pleasant surprise because I'm not a fan of the Final Destination franchise. I don't mind telling you.
In
that.
my
I'm just
mind,
not.
it was last year.
It was one of the most fun movies of the year. It was really, really a ball. I enjoyed it immensely. But yeah, F1, that's one that I thought to myself, that's the next one I got to go see in 4DX.
Yep.
That seems perfect for 4DX. And I just never did. I never
Yep.
got around to seeing it in 4DX, and I really should have. All right, what's next?
$20 super chat from Ryan Trabuco.
Thank you, Ryan.
Says, hi, John. Variety and BBC News reporting that Idris Elba is being knighted in recognition of his charity work of the Elba Hope Foundation he set up alongside his wife. So, rise, Sir Idris Elba.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. I love seeing stories of people who do so much good. Like they use their success as a platform to then do good things for other people. I have a huge amount of respect for that. And I think it sets a great example for people. You know, listen, I also get really tired of hearing people say, oh, sure, that guy gave $1 million to a charity, but he's rich, so it doesn't mean anything. You know what? Then you just do the same thing. Okay, let's say that guy has $100 million. Okay, so he gave 1% of what he had. Okay, you don't have to give $1 million, but you do 1% of what you have. You know what? If all of us did 1%, oh my God, the difference we would make in the world.
Mhm.
It's amazing. And, it's one of the reasons why, it's no secret. I'm a big fan of Ryan Reynolds around here, but one of the reasons I'm such a big fan of Ryan Reynolds is not just because I love his movies and all that kind of, not taking consideration Red Notice. But it's the fact that, if you actually take a second, I have never seen a celebrity that does more work for more charities, and like most of them you don't even know about because they're not made public, but if you actually look into it, you can find it. And I just love it. And so hearing this about Idris Elba and seeing that even his government is going to be giving him that kind of recognition, I think that's awesome. Yeah. I think that's awesome. And it's a great example for all of us.
And it's interesting how different actors or like anyone kind of handle being knighted. So like Anthony Hopkins is like, you could say certain, he'll be, oh, please, I'm Tony. And then, but you could talk to like Ben Kingsley and it's like, it's Sir Ben Kingsley. You know what I mean? Because it's just a different how they honor it or what they value it. It's just interesting,
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Murray Wright. No, we did. Oh, Murray Wright. Yes. Disappointing film. So of 25. Cap 4, Mickey 17, Mission Impossible 8, Jurassic World 4, Naked Gun. Oh, Black Phone 2, Running Man, Shelby Oaks, and Wicked 2.
I agree. Keep that up. I agree with almost all of them, except Naked Gun, which I thought, yes, the third act, the novelty had run out of steam, but the first two-thirds of the movie are so funny that it gives the movie a pass for me. So I really did like that. I didn't think Black Phone 2 was a disappointment. And I didn't think Running Man was a disappointment.
I liked Mickey 17. It wasn't what the trailers made me think it was, but for what it was, I still liked Mickey 17.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was a little let down by it just because with Bong Joon-ho directing and the cast, I was hoping for something Oscar contendery.
Sure.
And so I was a little bit down with that. And by the way, the reason I'm not saying Shelby Oaks, and I know a lot of people are going to ask, the reason I'm not saying Shelby Oaks is because I haven't actually had the chance to watch Shelby Oaks yet. So I'm not saying it belongs on the most disappointing films of the year list. Not at all. I'm just saying I haven't seen that yet.
All right. Amin says, any final Stranger Things finale predictions? Who will die? We kind of did that. How many deaths do you think we will actually get?
I don't think many. I honestly don't think many. But again, I'm going to go Steve and Dustin. I think because that's going to have impact, man. That's going to have emotional impact. So I'm going to stay with those two, Steve and Dustin.
Jonathan's going to be like, she's finally mine. Amin says, also, can we possibly get a Stranger Things season and season finale open spoiler discussion?
Definitely not this weekend because I've got plans. So it won't be this weekend. Maybe Monday or Tuesday we can do open spoiler discussion. Not of the whole series, because I would have to go back and watch the whole series again. But maybe for season 5, that's not out of the question. It's not out of the question. All right, what's next? Brian
says Doom has to be the final character tease. I can already see the tagline at the end saying Doom is coming, followed by the countdown. Or he's in the main trailer will come out. But how do you not show you the villain in the trailer?
They'll show the villain in the trailer.
Yeah.
Especially because it's Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
But you ain't gonna see his face. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Ian McAllister. John, because I respect...
Oh my God, that's a $50 super chat.
Oh, well, sorry, it's the one below it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then he also has a follow-up. John, because I respect you and your time, I'm just going to straight up ask you, hope out of respect you say yes, is Toby in Doomsday? We shall never reveal.
I cannot answer that.
Whether he is or not.
I could answer it, but I can't answer that. All right, what's next?
All right, now we have the $50 super chat from Ian. Thank you. I can't help but fangasm over the thought of a scene similar to the opening of God of War 2018. Dr. Doom knocks on Thor's door, alone in the woods. Thor, what do you want? Doom, oh, you know the answer to that. You should move
on. Listen, there are so many different ways they could go with Doom. And I got to say, the direction they chose is not one I would have predicted. But it's great. And it's not the one I would have predicted. And if you asked me, what do you want them to do with Dune? I would have given you 4 or 5 things that they could do with Doom in it that I would have loved to have seen. But they've gone in a different direction than I thought they would have. And I'm just going to say it's really good. It's really, really good. All right, what's next?
And thanks again for that $50 super chat there. Silent Ghost says, the Netflix co-CEO said the WB Games division wasn't a consideration in the WB purchase. What do you think will happen to WB Games when they own it?
Nothing, because they've already stated that Warner Brothers itself will continue to operate as a company. So they will probably continue to manage WB Games.
That's what I assume.
And then Warner Brothers will do with it whatever it is they're going to do with it.
Mhm.
But again, Netflix doesn't really care. Like, they're not buying it for WB Games, but that doesn't mean it's not going to have its place, once they get everything set up for Warner Brothers to self-run. All right, what's next?
Wes Moore says, "Hey John, love the show. Had you on all summer with my newborn while on paternity leave.
Aw, thanks, man.
Question: who's your favorite actor who has a bad picker and always seems to pick flop movies?" Oh, I have one.
Well, you can't say always picks flop movies, because I was going to say Russell Crowe, who is just simply one of the best thespians on the planet. He's amazing, but he often picks some really poor movies to be in, but not always. He's picked some great movies to be in too. Who are you going to say, Jonathan?
Michael Fassbender.
Oh my God. Yeah. Cause after we got,
I thought there was a time he could do no wrong. And then,
yes. And then came, I think it started with The Snowman. I think that started this streak of just some horrendous films. I think he had like a 4 or 5 movie streak where it's just terrible pick after terrible pick. And he's a world-class actor.
Yes.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Zach Pasta Sauce Walter says, my top 10 movies of the year are Roofman, Hamnet, Death of a Unicorn, The Long Walk, Sinners, The Gorge, interesting, F1. The top 3 then would be One Battle After Another, Last Breath, and Companion.
I like Companion. I would keep that up there a second. I'm going to
still
say,
need to see Roofman.
thank you. Now, I'm not going to have them on my top 10 list, but thank you for giving some love to Death of a Unicorn and The Gorge.
Yeah.
I remember watching Death of a Unicorn with Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd.
Uh-huh.
And I remember coming out and saying, this isn't a classic movie or anything, but that was really fun. I had a good time. And I was really surprised to see that the reviews for it were awful. People hated that movie. I thought it was really fun. I enjoyed it. And The Gorge is another one. The Gorge is another one that got a lot of crap from a lot of people. And I watched them like, I mean, this isn't one I'm going to revisit every year. Don't get me wrong. But I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. So neither of those are on my list, but I'm glad you're giving those movies some love. All right, what's next?
All right. CR says, why isn't Adam Aaron fired? Crazy he's still there.
I don't get it. Any other industry, any other company, where under the leadership of a particular CEO, your stock value has dropped 99%. Depending on when you, again, let's take the meme stock thing out of it. Your stock has still dropped and continuously been in a slide 4 years by over 90%. And from 2023 to now, your stock price has gone from, what do we say, $33 a share to $1.60 a share. No other CEO would survive that. I don't think, in my opinion. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he's got, I don't know if him and Kathleen Kennedy both have like pictures of their, like their shareholders,
He got
like
plot armor
at a donkey show or something. Like, I don't know. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Joseph says Shrinking Season 3 trailer was awesome. Did you see it?
I have not. I'm not going to watch it even as soon as the show's over. I'm going to see Ann a little bit later today because Ann, that's one of those shows Ann and I watch together, and I'm going to watch it a little bit later.
You know, is it weird that I'm kind of looking forward to this Malcolm in the Middle revisit?
You know what? I never watched Malcolm in the Middle.
I'm liking the trailers. I like the tone.
Yeah, I obviously I haven't watched a trailer for it because I've never watched Malcolm in the Middle. Yeah. But I know Ann's going to be interested in it because she did watch that show.
Nice.
All right, what's
Silent
next?
Ghost. Cinemark has 30 minutes of ads trailers, while my local theater has 3. My theory is T'Challa Jr. will be the next Black Panther. You'd have to do. He's like 8. You'd have to do such a big time jump. Yeah,
you'd have to do. Which, of course, we're dealing with Marvel, so you could do anything.
Which now he'd be like what, 12, 13, but still.
Yeah, I don't think they will. I'm not saying I know they won't at all. I'm just saying I don't think they're going to do that. But that has been one of the popular fan theories that T'Challa, son of T'Challa, will be the new T'Challa, and I don't think so. I think we're going to get an actual T'Challa, not T'Challa Jr. I think we're going to get an actual T'Challa. But again, I'm just speculating. That's just a guess.
And yes, Jeff, the whole cast, Cranston is coming back. The whole cast of Malcolm is coming back.
Yep.
Koa, John, for my clarification, you and Rob both know the entire plot of Avengers Doomsday and like it. What about Secret Wars?
I couldn't tell you a single thing about Secret Wars. I have no idea. That I do not know.
It's based on Marvel Comics.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing. There's been a lot of storylines done in movies that have the name.
No, but I just mean in the most broad sense of
Oh yeah,
it. It's
that's everything I know about Secret Wars. Is that now I know how it'll start, but honestly, I don't know how close they're going to stick to the Secret Wars comic. I don't know how far they're going to deviate from it. I just simply don't know. I really don't anything about Secret Wars.
I know how it starts. Marvel Studios opens up with a flickering image of different characters in Marvel Studios.
This is bum 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 bum
bum
bum.
bum.
There it is.
There you go. That's how it
opening.
opens.
All right, what's next?
Someone's still going to be mad at me for spoiling. Ryan's with a $20 super chat.
Oh, thank you, Ryan.
Meme stock aside, from a certain point of view, since you left and AMC movie talk ceased, the stock has steadily decreased since. Methinks you were the best asset AMC had, John. Again, from a certain point of view.
You know what? I think Ryan's onto something. You know, I've been saying it's because their former CEO, Jerry Lopez, left. But that was very close to the time that I left AMC Movie Talk.
It's true.
And took all of Movie Talk over to Collider.
They were cursed that day.
You know what? Maybe it wasn't Jerry. Maybe it was me. I'm the one that kept AMC. No, obviously that's not true. I like the way you think, Ryan. I like the way you think.
I will say this much. I was excited about the plans AMC had for our content before it all dissipated.
Dude, look, if I may vent for a minute, like what we were building at AMC was crazy great. It was great. And we had the support of key leadership in AMC, and we were growing and growing and growing. And like our numbers were getting ridiculous, like really ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my boss, we had carefully kind of charted out the direction we wanted to go and what we were doing, and it was all working. It was all working. And then some moron, and this is in my own personal interpretation of all the events, some stick up their ass moron in their HR department decided the way my boss did things didn't follow the guidelines. And I'm like, yeah, but the guidelines are set up for a movie theater chain, not media creation. We had to step outside of the media creation. Oh, and by the way, my boss got permission from the vice president of the company to step outside of those norms to make sure we could get AMC Movie Talk up and going. New HR person came up and said, nope, did it the wrong way, fired. And my boss got fired. To which I said, well, fuck you, I'm leaving if you're going to fire my boss over this. And then my former boss and the vice president, they all talked me out of leaving. And I'm like, okay, fine. We'll see if we can make this work. And then the HR person decided to send me same kind of letter. Literally sent me a letter saying, you can still work for AMC, but you're not in charge of AMC Movie News anymore. Nobody reports to you. You just take our direction and all that kind of stuff. And I remember I then sent a letter. I still have the letter. I sent a letter to Jerry Lopez, who was the CEO. And I said, who I love Jerry, but I'm just like, well, I'm gone. I'm gone. You guys are idiots for destroying what they destroyed. Like seriously, what we had at AMC was so good.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good.
The trajectory was so promising.
And like where we had started to where we were starting to win international awards. The numbers of the shows were massively high. It was just crazy how well everything was going. And the fact that they allowed some internal bureaucrat to destroy it all is, and listen, I don't hold a grudge over it. Like again, AMC is still my movie theater that I go to. I still have a lot of affection and a lot of love for the company. I really do. Obviously, I'm not a fan of the new leadership and how they're kind of doing their best to run this theater chain into the ground. But, oh man, I'll tell you, those were good days, man. Those were good days.
Yep.
Anyway. All right, what's next?
All right, we got X-Men Superfan with their top 10. This year are Companion, Frankenstein, Wake Up Dead Man, Old Guard 2, The Monkey, Wicked for Good, Superman, and Sinners.
Can I say, as somebody who absolutely loved Old Guard, I was not impressed with Old Guard 2. Yeah, I wanted to like that one more because Old Guard is one of those very few 1% Netflix original movies that's actually any good. I really liked Old Guard. I liked the mythology of it. I thought the action was fun. Charlize Theron's incredible in it. Yeah, and I just couldn't get into Old Guard 2. All right, what's next?
Ryan says, also correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't AMC do a reverse split of their stock? Yes, they did.
I believe they did. Yeah,
and that's why I was 33, but that still doesn't matter because it still had the same.
33.
Then it dropped even larger percentage from 33 down. So
and then just in the last year, the prices fallen by like 60%.
Yeah,
it's insane. All right, what's next?
Christopher Brickner, reviews for the new Anaconda film have gotten a lot better than when you first looked at them. They're okay, but a lot better than the initial 30%.
What is it at now?
Yeah, I'm gonna look.
I'll see if I can pull it up too. Anaconda.
I got it. It's 54.
Oh, I listen. It's not like when the first reviews come out. It'll move a little bit. It's not often you see it move by like 20% though.
Audience is 77. Generally they like the comedies. So
audience
not
scores,
much. That's a weird variance.
Audience scores, even on Rotten Tomatoes, don't mean much to me unless they're below 70 or over 90. Once you get over 90, well, that's when it's impressive. When it's below 70, then that's when it's really concerning to me. If it's in between 70 and 90, I don't really take it too much in consideration. But for critic scores, I mean, that's a big movement from there. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Let's see. We got Vincent says, "Hi guys, do you think that Skarsgård's performance in It, Welcome to Derry, makes him one of the greatest horror legends ever?
No.
Do you think there's a possibility that he grabs a role in Muschietti's Batman?"
I still don't think Andy Muschietti is going to end up directing Brave and the Bold. That's just a guess. But I don't think Andy Muschietti is going to end up directing that. Anyway, that aside, no, it doesn't. First of all, simply not enough people have seen it because you got to be an HBO Max subscriber to watch it, and that's only so many people. And then out of all the people who have HBO Max, you're gonna not get a bunch of people who aren't really into all that horror. Look, I think Skarsgård in Welcome to Derry was fantastic. I can't overstate that. He was fantastic. Do I think he's suddenly like on that level of like Robert Englund as no, I don't. Now, if he does it 3 or 4 more times, maybe we can have that conversation. But right now, no, I wouldn't put him in that category, even though he was incredible as Pennywise. All right, what's next?
We got X-Men Superfan who says, "I know that Man of Steel is your favorite Superman, and I see some of its virtues, but Superman 25 felt like the Superman film. It just filled me with joy and hope, made me giddy."
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Even in the history of the comic book, Superman has been done different ways at different times.
Mm-hmm.
There is no definitive Superman. There's a definitive Superman to each of us, right? And so I love the direction Zack Snyder took with Man of Steel that tried to look, okay, what would this kid actually be like? And what would he actually be going through if he was this guy who discovered when he was, not a child, but younger, wasn't his family, that he's a freaking alien. And what happens when he just discovers kind of who he is, that an invasion starts. And I just loved it. Now look, I love the new Superman. I thought it was incredible. And David Cornsweet is every bit a great fit for his version of Superman as my boy Henry was a fit for his version of Superman. I loved it. But I mean, it's an apples to oranges comparison, but yeah, Man of Steel is still my favorite there. But I loved the new Superman. I absolutely did. All right, what's next?
Keaton says, "Do you think Josh O'Connor will snag an Oscar nom?" I'm assuming for Wake Up Dead Man. That's maybe a supporting actor?
No, I don't. He was really good in it though. And he's got that new Steven Spielberg film. What's it called again? Disclosure Day. He's got that new one coming out next year too, but no, I don't think he's going to get an Oscar nom for this. All right, what's next?
Matan says, "As the contracts are up in 2026, what are the chances that we see another strike next year?" Boy.
Nil.
Hope not.
Nil. I mean, look, and I'm not saying this is fair. Believe me, I'm trying to just be practical and say what's likely. I'm not saying this is fair. I'm not saying this is right. I'm not saying this is the way it should be. You're just asking me, what do I think the way it is? Here's the way it is. I don't think the lives of writers have gotten much better since the last strike. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have gone on strike. I'm not saying they didn't have legitimate qualms and beefs and things they needed to get addressed. But I think, and you know what? If the writers go on strike now, ain't nobody else is going to stand up with them. Because the state, and writers know this, the state of the industry is incredibly precarious right now. And I think a writer strike right now is a suicide bombing. I think it's a kamikaze attack. You're destroying your own future. You're destroying, the industry simply can't handle it right now. It simply can't. And so again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's fair or unfair, but I just have to believe that the people in the Writers Guild understand that there cannot be another strike. Not now. And I think, I think the Producers Association also understands there can't be another strike right now. So I'm not expecting there, or even remotely believe there will be another strike next year. All right, what's next?
Zelda Master says, according to Tadam, Netflix's news site, the finale is 2 hours and 5 minutes. So either Fandango is inaccurate or Netflix is lying. AMC still has 2 hours 5, but I guess we'll find out.
Neither is necessarily true. Remember, things can change from when official things are listed and everything like that. So again, that's why we were quick to point out AMC is listing 2 hours and 5 minutes. Fandango, which covers all movie theater chains and is nationwide, is listing 2 hours and 30 minutes. So I don't know. We'll see. Either way, it's movie length. So we'll see which one it'll end up being. All right, what's next?
Quantum of Zen. What's your over-under on Eleven's sister being a Trojan horse or some kind for either Vecna or the military? Like she's an inside
5%. 5%.
Like maybe unwillingly more so?
I don't even think it's unwillingly, because remember, she's trying to push Elle to do something that would completely be contrary to what the military wants.
Yeah.
She's pushing Elle to basically go suicide mission. And the military needs her alive. And so since what she's pushing Elle to do versus is completely in contradiction to what the motivations of the military there would be. So I don't think it is either Vecna nor the military. So I think now there might be more ulterior motives under the surface, but I don't think either of them would lie if they exist in either the military or Vecna. But we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Quantum of Zen says, what's your over under on oh no, sorry. Jason Link says, you guys see changed logo of Endgame on Disney Plus?
Nope.
No. And I tried to log in, but I'm having trouble, so I can't see it.
I'll go look at it later, though. But no, I've not seen the change in the logo.
And that was that. That was it.
All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment and the second final episode of the John Campea Show in 2025 of today's episode of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show a part of your day. Hey guys, thank you so much for being here. And a big thank you to everybody who sent in those questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported our channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget to come on back tomorrow, guys, for our final episode of 2025. Part of the show, just part of it, is going to be, of course, we're going to wrap up what our favorite films of the year were. We're going to go over that, plus a few things more. Of course, I want to thank our writer, director, and producer, Robert Meyer Burnett, for being here. Our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.